From Oscar winners to reality stars, singers to sports icons, the aftermath of cheating isn't pretty for anyone involved. But when it's a celebrity affair, things can get especially messy, which begs the question, is getting freaky worth getting fired? It must have been for Ned Fulmer. The Try Guys YouTube series began with BuzzFeed, and it starred Ned Fulmer alongside Keith Habertsberger, Eugene Lee Yang, and Zach Cornfield. But it grew an audience of millions on the publication's platform before the guys realized, hey, why aren't we making a dime for our boss's dollar? And they went independent with Try Guys, as they rightfully should. Together, creating entertaining content for their masses, each Try Guy kinda had their own shtick. And Ned's was that he branded himself as the ultimate family man. His wife Ariel Fulmer was his entire personality, and he was supposed to be the wholesome one. But then came September of 2022, a little over 10 years after the couple, who shared 2 children, tied the knot. The persona Ned built came tumbling down. News broke via a Reddit chain that showed pictures of Ned cheating on his wife Ariel with Alexandria Herring, a producer at their company. The news and aftermath were an absolute whirlwind, and it resulted in Ned being kicked to the curb post a thorough internal review the same day the news broke. According to a video released by the 3 remaining members of the Try Guys the following month, a unanimous decision had been made to oust Ned, who wouldn't make any appearances on any more pre-recorded material going forward, but Ariel would. The story of a hidden love child forces one man to step down. Next up is Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, around May of 2011, there were rumors beginning to arise that Arnold had an affair with his longtime housekeeper, Mildred Patricia Baena, who's even fathered an illegitimate child with her, named Joseph, who bears a striking resemblance to the action star. These rumors ended up becoming so intense, Arnold is forced to step away from Governor of California role lest he face angry voters. But naturally, he and his wife Maria Shriver denied everything like crazy at first, until his wife took a step back to reevaluate the situation. The fact he'd suddenly upped how much they paid the housekeeper, the accused love child really did look like him, the fact that Mildred would have conceived at the time Maria Shriver was away working, and so Maria Shriver separated and filed for divorce from Arnold. This spawned a new wave of rumors, which finally confirmed by Arnold himself in May of 2011. He finally states that Maria left him because he'd come clean about the love child in a therapy session, whose creation he described as one of his biggest mistakes in life. His unexpected admission to the newspaper include another not so insignificant detail, that he only acknowledged the existence of the child whom he supported financially from a distance to his wife Maria shortly after stepping down from office. So, a classic for Twilight fans out there was Kristen Stewart's affair. When British director Rupert Sanders was chosen to helm Universal Pictures' fairy tale live-action Snow White and the Huntsman for his feature film debut, it seemed like the start of a promising career. But just a few weeks after the 2012 film's lackluster debut, he and the Huntsman star, Kristen Stewart, really top off the movie's bad press when they're captured by paparazzi making out. So, Stewart had cheated on her Twilight co-star, Robert Pattinson, and Sanders was unfaithful to his wife of 10 years, Liberty Ross, with whom he had 2 kids. Both released public apologies. Kristen's is particularly desperate and brutal, and it doesn't help either of them. Ross and Sanders ended up divorcing, can you pause it there? And nothing substantial transpired between Stewart and her boss, who were both then dropped from the film's sequel casting. Her career takes a massive hit, and she loses several other roles and endorsements, and faces harsh criticism from the press and the public. Kristen also had to deal with the fallout of her relationship with Pattinson, who she described as her first love, which ended shortly after the affairs exposed. While Stewart's career has started to bounce back following the scandal, it took Sanders even longer to secure a second feature directorial gig with 2017's Ghost in the Shell, which was then crushed by critics. When your producer cheats, you divorce and fire him. Next up is Robert Mutt Lange. It's a saga worthy of a country song. Shania Twain and her ex-husband slash producer, Robert John Mutt Lange, were one of the music industry's biggest power couples. Their split later became one of its biggest scandals. So Shania Twain's 14-year marriage to the music producer Robert Mutt Lange came crumbling down down when she found out her best friend, Marie-Anne Thibault, and Lang had been having an affair since 2008. News she couldn't accept at first when Marie-Anne's husband, Frederick Thibault, told her. But by 2010, Shania is divorcing her husband and firing him as her producer. It was like I was kicked off my own bus while it was moving full speed, the Grammy winner told Red Book magazine in April 2011. But there's a very strange, happy ending here. Shania may have lost a best friend and a husband, but she gained a new love in her ex-best friend's now ex-husband. To quote her, "We slowly became very, very good friends," Twain told Ellen in 2011. "We had many months of just trying to make sense of everything, holding each other up. It was a very difficult time emotionally for both of us. I would say he was probably stronger than I was. He was a tremendous support. We were a support to each other and really found something beautiful in the end and unexpected." The couple then married in January of 2011. Ime Udoka was suspended from the Boston Celtics after allegedly cheating on his partner of 13 years, Nia Long, with a member of staff. News broke in September 2023 that he had been temporarily axed from the team following reports that he had violated their code of conduct by engaging in improper, intimate, and consensual relations with a colleague. And this public announcement is how Nia Long found out. Can you imagine finding out from your husband's workplace that he cheated on you when they put him on public blast? That's traumatizing, especially considering the couple, who first met back in 2010, can you pause it there, share a 13-year-old son named Kez, who also found out what dad did the same way. A few months after the news of Ime's alleged affair surfaced, a representative for Nia claimed to the clamoring for quotes press that the longtime couple were no longer together, but were remaining fully committed to co-parenting their son. Soon enough, the actor wound up discussing the devastating ordeal for herself in a candid chat with Hollywood Reporters, stating that, "I think the most heartbreaking thing of all of this was seeing my son's face when the Boston Celtics organization decided to make a very private situation public," she said. "It was devastating, and it still is. He still has moments where it's not easy for him," she went on. "If you're in the business of protecting women, I'm sorry. No one from the Celtics organization has even called to see if I'm okay, to see if my children are okay," she added. "It's very disappointing." Next up is a reality show nightmare with a snappy nickname, Scandival. Does someone quitting a show over a scandal count? I'm going to count it for this list. If you weren't a Vanderpump Rules fan, to fill you in, the controversy was over Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix, the two longtime stars of the Bravo reality show. The two had been dating for 9 years when, without warning in March, it's revealed they'd broken up. Yeah, it turns out Sandoval had been cheating on his girl of 9 years with her best friend and co-star, Raquel Leviss. And not only was the affair confirmed, but much of the aftermath played out in public on Vanderpump Rules reunion special. Madix now says she has no interaction with Sandoval or Leviss. Meanwhile, Leviss had a complete breakdown over the consequences of her own actions and quit the show before checking herself into a mental health facility. All the while, the man in the middle, Sandoval, is still holding on and making statements about how he fought so hard for Leviss and was fully in love with her, but she shooed him away when the scandal broke. Should have shoot his ass off a cliff. A famous cheater to get the can was Scott Disick. Kourtney Kardashian's on-again, off-again relationship with Scott is a thing of pop culture legend at this point. They finally called it quits for what seems likely to be forever in 2015, but not before rumors of Scott cheating on multiple occasions surfaced as being the reason why. Scott and Kourtney were only on and off because the man could literally just not keep it in his pants. He was a brutal serial cheater. Kim and Khloe Kardashian once found texts that to another woman on his phone, and after that, pictures of him partying on a boat with his ex hit the internet, prompting their last breakup. It's famously known in Keeping Up with Kardashian fanbase that Scott really didn't realize what he had in Kourtney until it was too late. And now he spends his time moaning and groaning over what he could have had with the mother of his children. Ultimately, in 2017, it leads to Scott being given the can by Kris Jenner from Keeping Up with the Kardashians for his unchanged way and exhausted role in the household. And while it never got him fired, Hugh Grant's affair demolished his career for several years, and it's so iconic I decided to slip it into this list. So, the British actor who had just achieved playing the lead role in 4 Weddings and a Funeral was meant to be in Hollywood to promote his latest film, 9 months, when he decided, as a local paper said, to take a walk on the wild side. He cruises down LA's notorious Sunset Strip at night. It's here he meets Divine Brown, real name Estella Marie Thompson, a local working girl who he paid $60 to give her some bruised knees. Catch my drift. Grant and Divine are caught and arrested, not for the adulterous act, but for the fact the adulterous act was happening outside in a public space. Grant, the long-term partner of actress Liz Hurley, was quick to release a statement of regret to the press, but it was Divine Brown who the press really wanted. News of the World gets the scoop from her, paying her $100,000 for her story, which was a blow-by-blow account and a now famous sentence Grant told her. "I always wanted to sleep with a black woman. That's my fantasy." The tabloids went crazy with it. The revelations came days before Grant faced sentencing and became a media circus. The actor, who did not attend the court, was ordered to pay a fine of $1,000. Having violated a custodial sentence, Grant's career rehabilitation began with an interview on NBC's primetime Tonight Show host Jay Leno to apologize to the world. But the damage was done. The bust occurred 2 weeks before the release of 9 Months with Julianne Moore. Rotten Tomatoes gave it the approval rating of 23%. He co-starred then with girlfriend Elizabeth Hurley in Extreme Measures, and it flops. Mickey Blue Eyes flops as well. So it kicks off a 3-year-long hiatus, ending his relationship with Hurley as well. It wouldn't be until 1999 the hit Notting Hill gives Grant a comeback. Divine Brown, by the way, pleaded no contest to engaging in lewd conduct in a public place at her hearing, and having violated her probation for previous working girl charges, was given an 180-day prison sentence. As Brown did not have to serve her sentence for 4 months, she had time to travel to the UK to promote Fantasy Channel, an adult station launched on satellite the same year, and even do some modeling. Speaking to The Guardian at the time, Brown said she hoped to run into Hugh Grant while she was in the UK. Kevin Hunter was fired and divorced. 2 birds, 1 stone for Wendy Williams, who had her estranged husband employed on her show as a producer. The Wendy Williams show host claimed for the first time in her 2001 memoir, Wendy's Got the Heat, that her husband had cheated on her, prompting her to hire a private investigator to trail him. 16 years later, Hunter was accused of cheating on Williams again after being spotted out and about in New Jersey with massage therapist Sharina Hudson. Reports then surfaced that the TV producer and Hudson had been romantically involved for more than a decade, which he and Williams then deny. But then in March 2019, Hudson gives birth to a baby amidst widespread speculation that Hunter's the father. A month later, the TV personality is filing for divorce from Hunter after more than 21 years of marriage. And then another week later, Hunter's fired from his job on her daytime talk show. To quote, Kevin Hunter is no longer an executive producer on Wendy Williams' show. Debmar Mercury wishes him well in his future endeavors.
Number 10. Kim and Drake. Drake is a famous Canadian rap artist, and I've heard he's got a pretty stellar candy room in his mansion. Sounds pretty fun. Recently, Drake dropped a song called Search and Rescue, now available on Spotify. Halfway through the track, the music cuts out and a voice clip of Kim Kardashian and her mother Kris from an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians begins to play. The intention was to throw shade at Kanye West, whom Drake has had problems with in the past, but it only added fuel to the rumor fire surrounding his alleged affair with Kim during her marriage to Kanye. In the clip, Kim says, "I don't come this far just to not be happy. Remember that." On top of this, many fans have brought up Drake's lyrics from his song In My Feelings, claiming that Kiki is actually Kim herself. Hardcore internet sleuths sifted through his lyrics and discovered that if you take the directions that he's rapping about in the song and start at Drake's house in LA, it actually takes you directly to Kim's front gate. Coincidence? I think not. Number 9. Kendall and Bad Bunny. Not long ago, Kendall Jenner was dating a basketball player from the Phoenix Suns named Devin Booker. Devin and Kendall were together for over 2 years, first getting together in 2020. However, in 2022, the couple had a quiet breakup that left fans wondering what really happened to end what seemed to be such a strong relationship. Well, it turns out there may have been another man. Or a bunny, if you will. I'm just gonna show myself out, jeez. Bad Bunny is a popular rapper, singer, songwriter, and now actor, after briefly starring in last year's action comedy Bullet Train as the Wolf. In March of this year, Bunny seemingly dissed Kendall's ex, Booker, in his track Coco Chanel. He rapped, "The sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than in Phoenix." And a few weeks following the song's release, Kendall introduced Bunny to her horse, Arizona, in California. Oh, that's so cute, you named it Arizona. The couple are officially together. Let's see how long this one lasts. Number 8. Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. Jenner and Booker were first spotted together on a double date with other people. At the time, Booker was dating Kylie's best friend Jordan Woods, and Jenner was dating Ben Simmons. In February of 2019, it was revealed that Booker and Woods' relationship had fizzled out, but not long after the announcement, Woods was caught kissing Khloe Kardashian's boo, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, this is just gonna be very messy. Kardashian and Thompson split, and with that, Kylie's friendship with Woods was gone. But what that meant was that Kendall and Devin were free to do whatever they wanted. It was confirmed they were seeing each other after multiple sources caught them road tripping together over the summer of 2020. They were together for roughly 2 years before calling it quits in 2022, taking a break to figure out if their future together was actually meant to be. They got back together, but ultimately ended things on good terms in November of that same year. Number 7. Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet is slowly building his acting repertoire in Hollywood, and so far it's going pretty well. He starred as the lead in Dune, and he was recently announced to be playing a young Willy Wonka in a TV series chronicling Wonka's rise to glory. It was also recently announced that he was seeing Kylie Jenner like every week. While the announcement of them being a couple is a little out of nowhere, the fact is that Kylie has been co-parenting her 2 kids with Travis Scott, and Travis did not appreciate the secrecy. He said that he felt blindsided by the announcement, but he respects her decision to move on romantically. This relationship isn't all that recent, however, it was reported that the two may have shared a private moment or two during her marriage to Scott. Neither party have confirmed nor denied the rumors, but just seeing these two in a picture together makes us think that there is no way this relationship is that fresh, right? Number 6. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live when he was hired at the age of 20. He was the youngest cast member of all time. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who actually attended the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that show, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. They were only together for about a year, but it was enough time for Pete to get close to her family and even get a tattoo of her kid's name on his arm, which sounds hardcore, but he has like a million tattoos, so it's probably jammed between like a skull and an MGK portrait. Who knows? Number 5. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. Travis Barker is the drummer of the popular band Blink-182. Travis and Kourtney met after Barker had spent some time with the Kardashian crew at her mom Kris Jenner's house in California. Following the official news of their relationship, many fans were quick to comment on the short time between her relationship with Barker and that of her ex-boo, Luka Sabat. According to Kris herself, Travis and Kourtney began flirting while she was still seeing someone. Their connection was so strong from the beginning, but unfortunately that meant the end of one relationship but the start of a new one too. Kourtney appears to be very happy with the Blink-182 drummer, and Luka doesn't seem to have any issues with them being together, so I guess this is a cheating scandal with a happy ending for now. Number 4. Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and they were officially married 2 years later in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye was slowly having a mental breakdown. He was posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets and constantly sharing his political views as well as publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting Saturday Night Live in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson, previously mentioned, while still married to Kanye. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show, and it seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. And following the divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly be trying to help Kanye understand why his views and his words were just so wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan, and for Kanye, well, Number 3, Tyga and Kylie Jenner. Michael Ray Stevenson, known professionally as Tyga, is an American rap artist with a long list of bops under his belt. In 2011, he was asked to perform at Kendall Jenner's Sweet 16, and her sister Kylie was smitten. The two would keep in contact over the years, but rumors of them being a couple were shot down constantly until 2012, when he broke off his relationship with fiancée Black China, also a rap artist. It appeared that the split was due to the revelation that Kylie and Tyga were in fact an item. Tyga looked to Twitter to defend his actions, telling people not to believe the rumors. He's been friends with the family forever, they're all just friends. A year later though, they posted a photo on Halloween of themselves wearing a couple's costume, Chucky and the bride of Chucky. A couple of years went by and the pair were constantly seen together on dates, posted several pictures together on Instagram, and Tyga even bought her a Ferrari on her 18th birthday. They eventually split, and Kylie has moved on a couple of times with her next partner, Party Next Door, who is a person, that is a terrible name, even posting a photo on Instagram comparing his watches to Tyga's and claiming that the more diamonds the better. Alright boys, let's not stand around all day comparing watch sizes. Number 2, Kim Kardashian and Ray J. In this case, Kim was the staff that had the affair. You see, herself and the rap artist shared a 3-year relationship, but they met before Kim was famous while she was working as a stylist for his sister Brandy. At the time they met, Kim was still married to Damon Thomas, but apparently wasn't too happy with the relationship. She took part in an affair with Ray J and called it off with Thomas. During their time together, a certain tape was released online without Kim's permission, and the content contained explicit material of herself and Ray J doing the nasty. She sued the company that released it for $5 million to retrieve the rights and own the film. Following the release of the tape, their relationship quickly crumbled, and it was later revealed that both parties were cheating the entire time. And despite them having the knowledge of that, they just, they didn't care. They just kept doing it. Number 1, Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian. Mama Kris Jenner met Robert Kardashian at a horse race in California in 1973, and immediately sparks flew. At that time, Kris was in a committed relationship with Cesar Sonato, a pro golfer. He was often gone so long that there were gaps in their relationship, and Robert filled that gap. Kris began an affair with Robert that lasted for quite some time until one day Cesar returned home early and walked in on the couple doing the no pants dance. Needless to say, Cesar broke it off with Kris right away, but Robert also broke things off with Kris, claiming that she wasn't mature enough for a serious relationship. Yeah, no duh, dude. Robert was basically a mistress. He wasn't much more mature himself. He began dating Elvis Presley's daughter, but that relationship failed too, and Robert ended up returning to Kris's arms. They were married for a little over a decade when Kris proved that she had not matured at all. She took part in another affair, and this time it was with soccer player Todd Waterman. Robert hired private investigators after becoming suspicious of Kris, and he was proven right. So if there's anything to take away from this video, is if you think your partner is cheating, you're probably right. People are horrible now.
Number 10, Will Smith and Margot Robbie. In 2013, Star magazine published a bombshell allegation that Will Smith was caught cheating with his co-star Margot Robbie when they worked together on the movie Focus. The report actually claimed that in photo booth pictures that they found and published on their cover, Will appeared to be shirtless and Margot lifted up her own shirt to reveal her lingerie. The magazine also claimed that after they pulled the curtain back to take the pictures, they were getting very touchy-feely with each other in the dark. The scandal was massive at the time because Will is married to Jada Pinkett Smith, and back then they had yet to admit to having an open relationship. But the rumors soon died down as E! News revealed that the pictures were commissioned by production and that the entire cast and crew saw them being taken. It also came out that Will and Margot are absolutely just friends and there was nothing else going on between them. Even Margot was quick to deny everything on Twitter. Quote, "There's absolutely no truth to the ridiculous rumor. It's disappointing that goofing around on set could be taken so out of context." Well, people do tend to jump to conclusions. Number 9, Dominic West and Lily James. The actors were at the height of scandal when they were photographed getting cozy in Rome, all while filming their new series A Pursuit of Love in 2020. The pictures show the stars kissing, sitting at a cafe, standing on the Spanish steps, and riding tandem on a scooter looking very much to be on a date. Although Lily was single at the time, Dominic has been married to Catherine Fitzgerald for 10 years, and they have 4 children together. A source told The Sun that when Catherine saw the pictures, she was devastated and tried to get a hold of her husband, but he wasn't answering his phone. She was reportedly shocked by the whole thing because she didn't realize anything was going on. But only a few days later, there was a photo taken out the front of the couple's home with a note saying, "Our marriage is strong and we're very much still together. Thank you." Since the incident, James has kept quiet and cancelled various interviews to promote her latest film, Rebecca, which is probably a good decision considering the fact that both parties have not yet publicly talked about their affair since it occurred. Number 8. Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton. In 2003, Chad Michael Murray and Sophia Bush fell in love while filming the TV series One Tree Hill. 2 years later, they were married. However, they separated just 5 months later when rumors swirled that Chad had cheated on his wife with Paris Hilton, his co-star on the film House of Wax. During the time he and Paris both worked on the horror film together, they reportedly had an affair, according to Backstreet Boy Nick Carter, who was dating Paris at the time. But after separating, Chad and Sophia still had to keep working together for another 3 years on One Tree Hill. If that's not awkward, I don't know what is. It wasn't until 2011 that the actor decided to rethink the way in which he was living his whole life. Quote, "When you're young and you're thrown into something that I was definitely not ready for, I'm human and I screw up." But his ex-wife definitely took the whole affair much harder, and it's clear that his actions really affected her in the long term. In 2017, she wrote in Cosmopolitan that the scandal was a massive event in her life and the trauma of it was amplified by how public it became. She has also said that she feels the marriage was a joke and it did nothing but reduce her to a Hollywood statistic. Ouch. Number 7. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Jen and Brad got married in 2000 in a lavish Malibu wedding, and things were perfect for the Hollywood it couple until they suddenly announced their divorce in 2005. What happened exactly? Well, long story short is, Brad met Angelina for the first time on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and the rest is history. Apparently the movie was filled with so much romantic tension, it was impossible for the two stars not to fall for each other. I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is probably the sexiest spy movie to ever exist, so it's easy to see how everything went down. But the problem was that Brad was still married to Jen. But he didn't let that stop him, and they allegedly still got together despite his marriage. To add insult to injury, he said about his marriage to Jen, quote, "I was trying to pretend the marriage was something that it wasn't. I'm satisfied with making true choices and finding the woman I love, Angie, and building a family that I love so much." That sounds pretty harsh, but it turned out that Brad and Angelina's relationship wasn't just a fling, and they actually went on to date for many years and had a large family before finally getting married in 2014. The love triangle was one of the biggest celebrity scandals of the early 2000s, and it still dominates the tabloids to this day. Number 6. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. The actress and writer Carrie Fisher was never one to hold back when she had something to say, and in 2016 she shared a fascinating piece of history in her own memoir called The Princess Diarist. According to Carrie, she had a brief but very intense affair with her Star Wars co-star Harrison Ford while they were filming the movie in 1976. But what's really quite troubling is that People magazine reported that she was just 19 years old when the 3-month affair took place, while Harrison was 36 years old and married to his wife of 15 years, Mary Marquardt. To make matters worse, the couple also shared 2 kids together. In terms of sneaking around, Carrie actually said, quote, "It was Han and Leia during the week and Carrie and Harrison during the weekend." She also explained to The Guardian that the affair between them had eventually come down to unreciprocated love. She said that she'll always feel something for him. The Star Wars actress was so young at the time that they got together, and although she must have known it was wrong, it's hard to say that the blame rests completely on her. What's even sadder is that after Carrie died in 2016, Harrison never fully confessed to the affair, probably more out of shame for cheating on his wife. Number 5. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. The co-stars brought their on-screen romance into the real world after working together on the FX series Fargo. The pair appeared on season 3 of the anthology crime drama, which debuted in April of 2017. Only a month later, the actress announced on social media that she had split from her husband of 7 years, Riley Stearns. Following her separation, Winstead was spotted on a date, hooking up with McGregor in London, and cheating rumors were flying because although she was single, he was very much not. The Trainspotting actor was still married to Eve Mavrakis at the time, with whom he shares 4 children. After the Emmy winner was spotted getting cozy with Winstead, fans began to wonder about the status of his marriage, but it wasn't until January of 2018 that his now ex-wife filed for divorce. But while the two managed to keep their romance relatively private, their relationship raised eyebrows even among their family members. In fact, in August of 2018, McGregor's daughter Clara had some strong feelings on the new relationship at the time. She took to Instagram to comment on a Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan page, quote, "Most beautiful and talented woman on earth? Oh man, y'all are delusional. This girl is a piece of trash." Wow. Number 4. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Although it's been over for decades, Nicole Kidman's marriage to Tom Cruise is still one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. Cruise met Nicole Kidman on the set of the movie Days of Thunder, and the pair were instantly smitten with one another, and they soon started engaging in a torrid love affair. But at the time of meeting, you guessed it, the Top Gun actor was still married to Mimi Rogers, whom he wed in 1987. As it became clear that the affair was more than just a simple fling, Tom divorced his first wife in February of 1990, and less than 1 year later, he exchanged vows with Nicole in December of 1990. They even adopted 2 children, Isabella Jane and Connor Anthony, and eventually went on to make 2 more movies together as a couple. But as we all know, their marriage was far from perfect, and they ended up splitting a decade later in 2001. Looking back on the divorce, Nicole said, quote, "It took me a very long time to heal. It was a shock to my system. We were in a bubble, just the 2 of us. We became very dependent on one another." Number 3. Billy Crudup and Claire Danes. The massive scandal started in late 2003. Billy and his girlfriend of 8 years, Mary Louise Parker, who at the time was about 7 months pregnant with his son, broke up. The New York Post reported that the actor had moved on with his stage beauty co-star Claire Danes, who was only 24 at the time. In the summer of that year, the former co-stars had been spotted getting cozy all over New York City, and even had a very cute looking courtside date filled with PDA. But Billy wasn't the only cheater in that situation, as Claire also ended up breaking the heart of her longtime boyfriend Ben Lee to be with the actor. Their love affair didn't last long, however, and it's clear that all the heartbreak wasn't even worth it, because they ended up splitting up just 3 years later. Naturally, the ultra-private couple didn't discuss the reason behind their breakup, but the tabloids were happy to do so for them. Several magazines even claimed that Danes had left Billy for Hugh Dancy, but we'll never really know what happened. Years later, Claire said, quote, "I was just in love with him and needed to explore that. I was 24, I didn't quite know what those consequences would be." Number 2. Morena Baccarin and Ben McKenzie. The Homeland actress furiously denied rumors that she had been cheating on her husband at the time, Austin Chick. But when she got pregnant by her Gotham co-star Ben McKenzie, there was very little she could do to cover it up. And just like that, the cheating rumors were confirmed. Although the actress tried to shut down the allegations, according to a TMZ report, the divorce papers filed in 2015 by Austin show that he claimed that he was still sharing a bed with Morena when she conceived Mackenzie's baby. She did get a happy ending though, and eventually gave birth to Mackenzie's daughter Frances in March of 2016, just 2 weeks before her divorce from Austin was finalized, and went on to marry Mackenzie in June the following year. But did she at least feel a little bad for sleeping with her co-star while she was married? Well, not really. In fact, she told People magazine that working with him on Gotham was wonderful. Quote, "Ben's the sweetest. It's very nice to work with your significant other, especially when you're pregnant, because you know you'll get some extra TLC and get taken care of." I mean, yeah, I guess that sounds nice if you can ignore the question of how they met. Number 1. John Malkovich and Michelle Pfeiffer. The legendary actor John Malkovich caused intense scandal both on and off the screen when it came to filming 1998's Dangerous Liaisons with his co-star Michelle Pfeiffer. At the time, the actor had been married to actress Glenn Headley for 6 years, but that completely fell apart in the midst of his affair with Michelle. Interestingly enough, even the film's director, Stephen Frears, said, quote, "Dangerous Liaisons is about betrayal and lies and relationships unraveling. It was one of those times where reality and art intersect. It was overwhelming to John. Even for a man who delights in bad behavior, that was a difficult time. Not to mention the fact that John's older brother, Danny, told Entertainment Weekly in 1993 that when the actor came home with Michelle, that was the happiest that he had ever seen him." But even though John and his ex-wife got divorced in 1988, the affair didn't last long either, and they reportedly reportedly broke up not long after, but apparently Malkovich took the breakup very hard and reportedly cried for a whole year. The two of them must have really had something special because he told The Guardian in 2008, quote, "It's hard to believe Michelle Pfeiffer ever said hello to me." I mean, if you can forget about the fact that he cheated on his wife, it's still romantic the way he talks about Michelle. Number 10. Justin Timberlake and Alicia Wainwright. Justin Timberlake and Alicia Wainwright made headlines when they were spotted holding hands during a night out in New Orleans. The two actors were shooting the movie Palmer, which is a drama about an ex-college football star who returns home after being in prison. The co-stars were photographed together getting cozy at a bar in Louisiana, sitting at a table holding hands and talking to one another. The photos showed Justin, who didn't appear to be wearing his wedding ring, holding hands with the actress under a table and drinking together. At one point, Alicia could be seen resting her hand on the singer's knee, and while he was standing up, putting his arm around her waist. The photos caused a huge scandal because he's been married to Jessica Biel since 2012. Their relationship was really being tested, and Justin had to make a public statement the following month, apologizing for his strong lapse in judgment and claimed that despite the photos, nothing happened between him and his co-star. Number 9. LeAnn Rimes and Eddie Cibrian. This affair was not exactly unique. In fact, it's a story so common in Hollywood that it borders on cliche. The actors were co-stars who met on the set of a Lifetime movie called Northern Lights. They immediately hit it off and the flirting began. But the kicker was that they were both already married at the time to other people. But hey, in classic Hollywood fashion, they didn't let that stop them, and not long after meeting, they were photographed having dinner together, and the rumor mill did the rest. After extreme press coverage of the affair, both LeAnn and Eddie decided to make it official and separated from their respective spouses to be with each other. They eventually ended up tying the knot in 2011, but the story doesn't entirely end there. A few years later, Eddie was caught cheating on LeAnn at Wendy Williams' 50th birthday party, but she claims she's unfazed by the whole thing and doesn't seem to mind if he flirts with other women. You know what they say, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them too. Number 8. Helena Bonham Carter and Kenneth Branagh. The two are believed to have begun their secret relationship on the set of the film Frankenstein in 1994, which Kenneth played the lead role and Helena played Frankenstein's adopted sister, Elizabeth. At the time, he had been married to Emma Thompson for 8 years, who was adored by fans. The two were even dubbed the golden couple by the British press, and seemingly had the perfect marriage, which is why the affair caused a massive scandal that rocked tabloids across the nation. They split in 1995, and years later, Emma has admitted that her tearful scenes in Love Actually were so persuasive because she had had her heart broken very badly by Kenneth. It was a little awkward because both actresses had to work together in the Harry Potter films, with Helena playing Bellatrix and Emma playing Professor Trelawney. But in 2013, she revealed that the two had made their peace years ago, and that the divorce was all blood under the bridge. But Emma even joked that she and her Harry Potter co-star were both slightly mad and a little bit fashion challenged, and she said, quote, "Perhaps that's why Ken loved us both." Number 7. Abby Cornish and Ryan Phillippe. The actor first met Reese Witherspoon while starring alongside her in the 1999 movie Cruel Intentions. They actually fell so in love with each other that they ended up getting married that same year. But all good things must come to an end, especially Hollywood romances, and in 2008, Ryan started to get closer to his new co-star, Australian actress Abby Cornish, while they were filming the movie Stop Loss. The two of them seemed to be so comfortable being seen in public together that they were eventually caught having dinner together in a Texas restaurant, despite the fact that there were some curtains around the table. They were also caught together again just outside of Ryan's apartment. The affair was so in your face, it really wasn't funny. But it wasn't until Reese discovered intimate messages back and forth that were being exchanged between the two of them on his phone. Then it was clear that after 7 years of marriage and 2 children, Reese was ready to call it quits with Ryan, and later went on to marry talent agent Jim Toth, whilst Ryan and Abby's love affair eventually lost its spark. Number 6. Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys. The actors played secret KGB agents and love interests on the FX spy drama The Americans. The romance between the two sparked while on set, but there was just one problem. At the time, Kerry was still married to Shane Deary, with whom she had 2 kids. The two leads play like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and so naturally, many believe their steamy scenes were indicative of a real-life romance. At the time though, they both heavily denied it. When talking about their sex scenes, Matthew said, quote, "We've we've all done a million of them in this crazy life we sign up for. He said that eventually the clinical element of it kicks in, which sort of takes away from that embarrassment. But it's obvious that there was really something going on, as the two of them were shopping for furniture together at Christmas in 2013. Not long after, Kerry parted ways with her now ex-husband. Unlike most cheating scandals though, this one seemed to turn out quite well, as Kerry, Matthew and Shane reportedly go on vacations together and frequently dine out as friends. Not only that, but in 2016, Kerry and Matthew welcomed their first child together and became a blended family. Number 5. Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. The Beverly Hills 90210 star and her husband, Dean McDermott, have been making headlines since their scandalous start. The two actors met on the set of Lifetime's Mind Over Murder in 2005, only a year after Spelling married her first husband, Charlie Shanian. Dean was also married at the time for more than a decade to Mary Jo Eustace, with whom he shares a son. Tori and Dean began cheating on their spouses the night they met. In fact, she wrote about the affair in her 2009 memoir, quote, "It was love at first sight. I fell so hard. Then I noticed he had a wedding ring. When someone asked, he pulled out photos of his children, and oh yeah, I had a husband too." Yeah, there's no making that sound better. She went on to say that the couple ended up spending the night together despite the fact that they were both married. And she knew it was meant to be because when she woke up next to Dean the following day, she said she had no regrets. The two married and went on to have 4 children together before yet another cheating scandal rocked their relationship in 2013, this time with Dean and the nanny. Number 4. Kate Hudson and Owen Wilson. The Hollywood stars had a massive cheating scandal while filming the 2006 comedy You, Me and Dupree, most likely because Kate was married to rock musician Chris Robinson for 6 years when she met Owen. The actors had a wild affair that lasted only 6 months, but it was definitely long enough to ruin Kate's relationship with her husband forever. Amid the rumors of infidelity, the Black Crowes singer ended up filing for divorce from Hudson in November 2006, citing irreconcilable differences and seeking joint custody of their then 2-year-old son Ryder. A month after the film opened in July, Kate and Owen were confirmed to be officially dating. But the affair didn't seem to stack up to anything, as the couple's relationship was short-lived, and they broke up less than a year later. As the public started to turn against the actress, she countered the speculation by telling Harper's Bazaar that's not what happened. But looking back at the 2006 press tour, it was pretty obvious that something was happening between them, because it got kind of inappropriate. Owen asked her about wearing a bikini in the film and whether she and her husband have ever had a third wheel experience. Number 3. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. Many Hollywood romances have started on screen and bled into the real lives of the actors involved. The most iconic has to be that of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. The two engaged in a scandalous affair after meeting on the set of To Have and Have Not back in 1944. Bacall was only 19 when she first met Bogart, who was already an acclaimed Hollywood star and 25 years older than her. But that wasn't the only issue. At the time, Bogart was married to actress Mayo Methot, but their relationship was reportedly falling apart. Bacall confessed in her 1978 memoir that there was no clap of thunder or lightning bolt moment when she first laid eyes on him in 1943, but the actors became close on the set when she was nervous about the production and turned to her co-star for support. Just 3 weeks into filming, the pair shared their first kiss in her dressing room after a day of filming, and he asked her for her phone number, which she famously scribbled on the back of a matchbook. After that, they began meeting in secret places and using their on-screen names to disguise their identities. Bogart eventually divorced his wife in 1945 and married Bacall just 11 days later. Number 2. Sienna Miller and Daniel Craig. Scandal erupted in 2005 when Sienna Miller's confession of love to Daniel Craig was publicly broadcast to the world, while she was still married to Jude Law. The two were co-stars in the 2004 film Layer Cake with Sienna, and at some point the two got a little bit closer than they did on screen. But how did the news of the affair get out? Well, that's the tricky part. A journalist hacked Daniel's voicemail, retrieving a message that came from Sienna's phone number. Both parties tried to discredit the audio tape at first, but when the hearing took place for the hacking trial, it was proven to be authentic. Sienna tried to play it off and told the court that she always ended phone calls saying "I love you," insisting it wasn't some huge declaration of love. She denied that the message it meant she was in a relationship with Daniel, but she did admit to the court that they were briefly involved. Jude reportedly learned of his wife's affair from the newspaper story and called Daniel to confront him because the two used to be close friends. Talk about messy. And coming in at number 1, Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. In the 90s, Meg Ryan had a squeaky clean image thanks to her role as a leading lady in many rom-coms like When Harry Met Sally and Sleepless in Seattle, but her reputation took a huge hit when it emerged that she cheated on her then husband Dennis Quaid with her co-star Russell Crowe. Meg and Dennis had been married for 9 years and already shared a son together when she met Russell on the set of the 2000 thriller Proof of Life, and the pair had instant chemistry. But the affair reportedly caused awkwardness amongst the cast and crew, as the actress didn't even appear on the press tour because she was so worried that they would be asking her about it. In fact, the film's director Taylor Hackford blamed the cheating scandal for the film being a flop at the box office. Meg was publicly shamed, especially after she and Dennis officially announced their separation, because it allegedly put too much strain on their marriage. When she began dating her co-star, it really changed the public's perception of her as the quirky rom-com lead. In fact, she told The Guardian in 2003, quote, "I was all over the tabloids and I walked through the lobby and the place stopped. People stopped talking and stared at me." Goes to show you how sensational the affair was at the time.
Starting us off at number 10 is Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. There has always been a lot of speculation around this affair ever since rumors started circulating that the president had an affair with Marilyn while he was married to Jackie Kennedy. These rumors heightened after her iconic, sultry performance of Happy Birthday to the President. I don't think we can ever forget that one. For many years it was all rumors and no confirmation, but in 2013 a biography came out and confirmed these claims to be true. In the biography titled "In These Few Previous Days, the Final Year of Jack and Jackie," it claimed that Marilyn once called Jackie to tell her that John had promised to marry her. The biography also claimed that he was having an affair with multiple women, but Jackie was most concerned about the one with Marilyn because she knew it would cause a huge and very heavily documented scandal. Now, of course, whether the biography is even true, we will never know. So, I guess we take this one with a grain of salt. Moving on to number 9 is Ashton Kutcher and Sarah Leal. Ashton was married to Demi Moore for 6 years at the time that the scandal had unfolded in front of the entire world. His administrative assistant, Sarah Leal, had come forward and alleged that she had intimate relations with him during an interview with US Weekly. Demi spoke about the affair in her 2019 memoir called Inside Out, where she said she found out about the cheating scandal through a Google alert. When she confronted Ashton about it, she said that he admitted to it right away. The heavily documented scandal was the catalyst for the breakdown of their marriage, with the two of them finalizing their divorce in 2013. Ashton never personally addressed the scandal, except for in 2017 when he admitted that his name was splashed around every gossip magazine for being an adulterer. Swiping our number 8 spot is Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. It is one thing to get caught in a cheating scandal in Hollywood, and it's another thing when it includes someone getting arrested. In 1995, the actor was arrested in Los Angeles for misdemeanor lewd conduct in a public place with a Hollywood sex worker. He was caught having this affair after he paid her to perform acts on him. We'll leave it at that. The actor ended up pleading no contest and paid a fine. But what made matters worse is that he was married to Elizabeth Hurley at the time, so the whole scandal was flooding the media, including his mugshot. But despite the fact that he cheated, she stayed with him for 5 years in hopes to fix their marriage. However, it didn't work out and they split later down the road for good. And spot number 7, we have Tiger Woods and multiple women. Honestly, there's no nicer way of saying it, and the whole scandal included more than 10 different women. It all started in 2009 when the National Enquirer reported that Woods cheated on his wife with a nightclub owner named Rachel Uchitel. I think that's right. Media outlets reported not long after that his wife had attacked him with a golf club after finding out the news and finding proof in his phone while he was sleeping. After it was made public, more than 12 women came forward and claimed they had relationships and flings with him, sharing text messages and voicemails as proof. He ended up admitting to his infidelity and issued a public apology. Because of the scandal, he actually lost several endorsements and had to take a break from tournaments. He and his wife got divorced in 2010. Cruising into spot number 6 is Jude Law and Daisy Wright. This affair was one of the biggest ones in Hollywood history. 1, because it was so documented, and 2, because it involved someone close to their family. I am talking about the actor and his fiancée at the time, Sienna Miller. Back in 2004, they were engaged and seemed to be a match made in heaven. But it wasn't long before the scandal surfaced in 2006 and revealed that Jude had been cheating on her with their nanny, Daisy. She was actually the one who came forward with the affair and gave out details of their entanglement, which apparently had gone on for some time. Jude did not bother denying it. He ended up coming clean to the affair and released a public apology to Sienna, saying that he deeply regrets it and that he is ashamed of his actions. Sienna broke off the relationship right away, but then they got back together and tried to rekindle things. It actually wasn't until 2011 that they officially called it quits. Halfway through our list, number 5 is Alex Rodriguez and Madonna. Alex was with his ex-wife Cynthia Scurtis at the time that this scandal blew up in his face. There were multiple rumors going around at the time of infidelity on his end, and one of them was allegedly with Madonna. Why this affair was so shocking was because Madonna was also married at the time and she was denying the claims. It was actually Alex's former trainer at the time, Dodd Romero, who talked about the affair. He claimed that Alex got pulled in by the dark side of Madonna's religion at the time and was totally brainwashed. A friend of Cynthia's also spoke out and said that she told her she found a letter from Alex to Madonna, and in it he told her that she was his true soulmate. In interviews though, Alex always said that he and Madonna were just friends, and that is what they have always claimed, so we really don't know. I don't buy it. Moving into spot number 4 is Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. Meg was in the prime of her career at the time, being the leading lady of romantic comedies, all while being married to Dennis Quaid. They got married in 1991, but then in 2000, she was exposed for having an affair with her co-star at the time, Russell. They were filming Proof of Life together at the time, and they were spending a lot of time together, which apparently led to this affair. She immediately took the heat for the affair, and everyone was heavily criticizing her to a point where it started to affect her career and roles that she was no longer getting. She tried speaking up about it and said that Dennis had actually cheated on her in their relationship in the past, but that it just was not made public. But people didn't care. She was still the only one to get bad press for it. Her and Dennis finalized their divorce not long later in 2001. Russell Crowe didn't get any freaking heat, eh? Cool, sure. Rolling into spot number 3 is Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. This is by far one of the worst scandals to ever get caught on camera. I remember the pictures being everywhere at the time. It was back in 2011 when Kristen was dating her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, and everyone thought they were going to be together forever. Or at least we hoped. I hoped. But then out of nowhere, pictures of her making out with another man were all over the internet and the cover of magazines. The man was Rupert Sanders, who was the director of her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, which is where the two of them met. Rupert was also married at the time to the mother of his children, Liberty Ross, so things were very messy. People were also shocked because he was 41 at the time and Kristen was only 22, so the age gap just surprised a lot of people. Robert and Kristen split immediately, but Rupert and his wife continued to try and work it out. Taking over number 2 is Jesse James and multiple women. Once again, the scandal just involved more than one person, so I can't really pick just one. He got married to Sandra Bullock in 2005, but they went their separate ways just 5 years later in 2010, after he was exposed for cheating. Articles called him a serial cheater, as a handful of women came forward with proof that he was cheating throughout his entire marriage. It all started when In Touch magazine revealed intimate details of his affair with model Michelle McGee. From there, 2 other women came forward sharing their details of having romantic entanglements with him during his marriage. One was an exotic dancer and the other was a photographer. Sandra filed for divorce immediately, and Jesse didn't even bother denying the claims. He actually called it a part of life. He told Daily Mail, I quote, "Yeah, I did cheat on my wife. Yeah, I stood up and took accountability for it and apologized. In general, both women and men cheat. It's part of life." Well, it doesn't have to be part of life. But okay. In the number 1 spot is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. We could never forget this affair, probably because the two of them went on to get married and create a family together, even though it came from infidelity. Brad was married to Jennifer Aniston at the time, but that did not stop him from cozying up with another woman. He met Angelina on the set of Mr. and Miss Smith in 2004, which is where the two of them got close. A little too close. The affair ended up getting exposed in the public eye, and even though Jen and Brad had split, Brad jumped straight into the relationship relationship with Angelina. Well, because he was already having the relationship. People did not agree with it and even criticized Angelina for bragging about it. During an interview in 2008, she talked with the New York Times saying, "Not a lot of people get to see a movie where their parents fell in love." Well, I hope you also told your kids that their dad was married at the time that you guys fell in love during this movie. I'm very passionate about this one because I love Jennifer Aniston. Rachel Green? Oh, we fell in love on this set, isn't that beautiful? No, because dad was married to another woman, actually. Anyways, starting off our list at number 10 is Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas. The pair met on the set of Camp Rock where their characters sang and fell in love, so naturally, so did they. Demi openly admits to having a crush on Joe throughout their entire filming process, so she was nothing but thrilled when they got together as a real-life couple. In her 2017 documentary called Simply Complicated, Demi revealed that their first kiss was actually on camera and that the relationship only lasted a month or two. We didn't really expect more than that. They were kids. But Joe opened up about the relationship and spoke more seriously on it, saying that Demi struggled with a drug addiction when they were dating, even though she was very young. He confessed that he only stayed with her because he felt like he had to help her. He said, I quote, "I really got to know her and got to see the ins and outs of what she was struggling with, like drug abuse. I felt like I needed to take care of her, but at the same time I was living a lie because I wasn't happy but felt like I had to stay in it for her." Joe and Demi both admit that their love was young and short-lived, but they still have a lot of love for each other as friends. At number 9 is Thomas Doherty and Dove Cameron, who fell in love on the set of a more modern Disney movie, Descendants 2. Disney fans watched their real-life relationship go from 0 to 100 in the matter of a couple months right in front of their eyes. Fans started speculating on their relationship long before they confirmed it on February 16th, 2017. The news didn't really surprise anyone. They have been dating ever since and don't try to hide their love for each other in any way. Just look at their Instagrams. During an interview with Access Hollywood, Dove was asked if she'd ever work with Thomas again, and she said it didn't matter because he is the love of her life and she's his partner in real life, which is what matters. Currently they are being called the cutest Disney couple there is, and yes, at the time of this recording, they are still together. Up next at number 8 is Bella Thorne and Greg Sulkin. These two Disney Channel stars have had an on and off relationship throughout the years, and it all started on a Disney set. They met on the set when they both appeared on the 3rd season of Wizards of Waverly Place. They admit to having sparks for each other, you know, that young puppy love, but they didn't date until they were a little bit older. After falling in love while filming, Bella went on to star on her own show Shake It Up, and Greg was cast on Marvel's Runaways. They officially started dating in May 2015 and were together for over a year. They were totally couple goals, which is why fans were shocked when they announced that they decided to call it quits. They announced a joint statement to E! News saying, "After much thought and soul searching, we have made the difficult decision to end our relationship. We will always love each other and have a deep respect for one another, as we have each grown to be better people because of our time together." Bella later revealed that there was no animosity between them and tweeted out, "Things just didn't end up working the way we had hoped, but I'll always love the bub." They got cozy again for a short period in 2017, but it wasn't anything serious, they fooled us, and they just continued on as friends. Coming in at number 7 is Cole Sprouse and Allison Stoner. I gotta be honest here, I didn't even know they dated. That's probably because they were only like 11 years old when they started dating on the set of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. They met while filming and dated throughout the series. Allison revealed on a podcast that her first crush and first boyfriend ever was Cole. They were young throughout the relationship, so their immature breakup isn't all that surprising. Guess how they ended? Through text. Cole sent her a text that simply read, "It's not going to work out." Worst part is, he sent the breakup text on her birthday. Real mature, Cole. I mean, because they were so young, this is all just kind of adorable to me. Rumors went around that they had another short fling when they were older, but it just didn't seem to work out for them as a couple. She could always try for his twin brother Dylan. Swiping the number 6 spot is Hilary Duff and Aaron Carter. What an iconic duo at the time. We loved watching Hilary practically grow up on her hit Disney Channel series Lizzie McGuire, but one of our favorite moments from the show was when Aaron Carter did a cameo on the show, which just so happens to be where the two of them fell in love. How could we ever forget the episode where they kissed under a mistletoe? My 13-year-old self was dying inside. Actually, my 26-year-old self still is. The kiss soon led to the two of them dating in real life. They were together for over a year and a half before calling it quits. So, who was to blame for the heartbreaking split? Aaron. He left Hilary for Lindsay Lohan. I am spilling that tea for y'all right now. But these are cold hard facts, you guys. During an interview with Us Weekly back in 2014, Aaron spoke on it. He said, I quote, I started dating Hillary on my 13th birthday. I was dating her for like a year and a half and then I just got a little bored, so I went and I started getting to know Lindsay, dating Lindsay. Meanwhile, Hillary has very much moved on and is now happily married with 2 children. Throughout the years though, Aaron has made comments saying that he will never give up on Hillary and calls her the love of his life. He kept posting these weird and creepy tweets where he declared his love for her. She publicly announced that his comments were making her uncomfortable. So it looks like she will always just be the one that got away. That's what you get for picking Lindsay Lohan. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Bridget Mendler and Shane Harper. They were each other's co-stars for years on the Disney show Good Luck Charlie. They openly admit that when they started to film the show together, they really didn't hit it off. They don't have a reason why, they just blame it on the fact that they were 16 when they met and they just didn't click. But 2 years later, their group of friends started to merge and Bridget says that he was very persistent when wanting to go out with her, so she agreed to it. After that, the two of them continued to work together and also went on to date for over 4 years. They seemed as happy as they could be, which is why people were surprised when they ended in 2017. Rumors were going around for a few months speculating if they were over or not, but then Bridget confirmed it when she told the humor mill, I'm single, so I guess that means I'm undateable. Here we are at number 4 with Victoria Justice and Cole Sprouse. Apparently Cole got around throughout his time on Disney, but this was just another case of puppy love. The two of them met on the set of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where Victoria was a guest on one of the episodes. Remember the episode where Cody accidentally enters a beauty pageant after following a girl named Rebecca into the dressing room? And during their pageant time, he became best friends with her, and then he drops out for her so that she can win. There is no way you forget this hilarious and adorable episode. Well, Rebecca was actually played by Victoria Justice, and when Cody let her win, she thanked him by giving him a little smooch on the lips. During the filming of this episode, the two of them started to date in real life, as kids of course, and just so you know, this was actually before Cole moved on to Allison Stoner. During an interview for Popstar, she talked about their on-screen kiss, saying it wasn't only their first kiss together, but it was her first kiss ever, and apparently it was filmed in front of a live audience, so it made it that much more uncomfortable. But she also said that even though the relationship didn't last long, they remained friends afterwards. Alright guys, at number 3 is Bradley Stephen Perry and Sabrina Carpenter. Bradley is mostly known for his role on Good Luck Charlie, and she's known for her role on Girl Meets World. They started dating in 2015, and the only reason we found out was because the way he asked her blew up online. He wrote her this adorable note in a bottle. So creative and so cute. All seemed well with the young couple, who technically fell in love for being on the set of a Disney Channel interview. We are giving them this honorable mention because they are so cute together. But they didn't work on a show together, but when working with Disney, you're often doing other projects and media stuff together in the same proximity. So I decided I'm gonna let them on this list. Sadly, their relationship only lasted a short period of time. Neither of them revealed what the exact reasoning was for their split, but it's been said that Sabrina's song Smoke and Fire was inspired by the relationship. So she is pulling a Taylor Swift, writing a song about her ex. She's pretty clever for a 19-year-old, I gotta say. In spot number 2 is Miley Cyrus and Nick Jonas. I had mixed emotions when I found out that they were dating. On one hand, I was like super excited because I was shipping them hard for so long, but on the other hand, I was convinced that I was going to marry Nick Jonas, so I was jealous. The two of them met on the set of Miley's show Hannah Montana, where apparently they fell in love on the first day of filming. It was back in 2006 when they met, and Nick's older brother Kevin said, I quote, when he met Miley, I think that kid's head exploded. Apparently they started to date the first day that they met. They did not waste any time. They dated for a year, which brought drama because Selena Gomez also liked Nick at the time. It wasn't a nasty breakup though, and later in 2009 rumors were flying that they might be rekindling their relationship. I was so excited. But unfortunately, it was all just rumors. They remained friends throughout the years, but I'm pretty sure 90% of us Disney fans are still hoping that they will end up together somehow, even though he's married. But she just got separated, so like, you never know. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron, because how could they not? They were our high school sweetheart inspiration. They met in 2005 on the set of the first High School Musical movie, where they fell in love and continued to date throughout the 3 movie series. Their characters Troy Bolton and Gabriella Montez fell in love in the movie, so it wasn't all that surprising when they locked it down off camera. They were going strong for a while, and we thought it would be a true Disney love story, but the two of them split in 2010 after dating for 5 years. No reason was ever confirmed until later in 2015 when Vanessa opened up about her relationship with Zac during an interview with the New York Times. She said that the relationship ended up making her really mean and would cause her to lash out. She admitted that Zac wasn't the issue, but it was the crazy obsessed girl fan base that he had. I was one of them. She said, I went through a phase when I was really mean because I was so fed up. Girls were running after him and I was giving them death stares. Then I realized that's not what that's about. Spread the love, be a good person. They support you, be nice. There's no doubt that during that time they were very much in love, and to this day they both have very positive things to say about one another. Disney has a way of making people fall in love, but then ending on good terms.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Megan Fox. Back in 2009, Megan Fox would come out to call Michael Bay out for his unprofessional behavior behind the scenes for the Transformer movie franchise, which isn't really shocking, as after they kicked Megan out of the films, they did have one of the Transformers call her an itch for no reason. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Megan would say, Michael wanted to create this insane, infamous madman reputation, and he ultimately was a nightmare to work for. She also went on to say, but when you get him away from the set and he's not in director mode, I kind of really enjoy his personality because he's so awkward, so hopelessly awkward. He has no social skills at all. It's endearing to watch him. He's so vulnerable and fragile in real life, and then on set he's a tyrant. In response, Michael then made a letter and enlisted his crew as the people behind it on his page, where they claimed that Megan was the one who was actually really difficult to work with. Number 9. Ray Fisher. Joss Whedon has been accused multiple times on set for misconduct. In 2020, Ray Fisher, who starred in Justice League, wrote in a tweet that Joss's behavior during the filming of the movie was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. Not only did he use his social media, but he also used a series of interviews to bring forward some serious allegations of racist behavior and cover up at Warner Brothers. Josh, who played Cyborg in the 2017 film, is fed up with the unrelenting focus of executives at Warner Film Studios and then at its parent company Warner Media, and how they handled allegations that he and others brought to their attention. Right after Ray exposed his mistreatment, Catherine Forrest, a former federal judge who conducted the Warner Media probe, told THR in a statement that in the interviews of more than 80 witnesses, she found no credible support for claims of racism or racial insensitivity. A Warner Media spokesperson then noted that the company made extraordinary efforts to accommodate Mr. Fisher's concerns about the investigation to ensure its fullness and fairness, but the investigation definitely wasn't fair, as his allegations were truly just swept under the rug instead of being heard. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in at number 8, we have Charisma Carpenter. Showrunner, producer, and director Joss Whedon now has a long line of celebrities who have come forward to accuse him of abuse. One of the most disturbing accounts comes from former Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel star Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia Chase in Joss Buffy's universe. Charisma only felt inspired to speak up about the mistreatment she received after years of remaining silent because she saw the Justice League actor Ray Fisher tweet about the abusive work environment Josh allegedly fostered on the set of the film. In a statement to her Twitter account in February 2021, Charisma called Josh casually cruel while citing on-set examples like allegedly calling her fat when she was 4 months pregnant, or she was forced to report to work at 1 a.m. against medical advice. She then claimed that Josh asked her inappropriate questions about her pregnancy, and shortly after she gave birth, Josh fired her, and she would know all that promise and joy sucked right out of new motherhood, and Josh was the vampire. While he found his misconduct amusing, it only served to intensify my performance anxiety, disempower me, and alienate me from my peers. Number 7. Judy Garland. The original Dorothy of Oz had a difficult life after Judy Garland passed away in 1969. Later, it would be said that her life was full of many hardships, and she unfortunately suffered her whole life. It all began when the actor was 13 years old and signed a contract with MGM Studios. During this time, executives at the studio allegedly created body images for her by forcing her not to eat and made her develop a resilience on substances. And they even reportedly made unwanted advancements towards her. By the age of 19, Judy then got married for the first time and would go on to have 5 husbands in total, and one was allegedly abusive. The most shocking story, however, comes from her most famous film. Judy's ex-husband, Sid Luft, who served as her manager and whom she married from 1952 to 1965, had a memoir published in 2017 where he claimed that the actors who played the Monksians in The Wizard of Oz made unwanted advancements towards Judy on set, and they would make Judy's life miserable on set by putting their hands under her dress. With the Monksians being 40 or more years old, Sid would say they thought they could get away with anything because they were so small. Number 6. Amy Adams. Director David O. Russell has alleged documented history of aggressive behavior on set, like the time he got into a physical altercation with George Clooney, to the time he called Lily Tomlin a "see you next Tuesday" while filming the 2004 I Heart Hucklebees. But the most disturbing allegation was when David continuously mistreated Amy Adams on the set of the 2013 American Hustle movie. In emails leaked the following year through WikiLeaks, journalist Jonathan Alter wrote to his brother-in-law, Sony Entertainment CEO and chair Michael Yachten, that the news stories of Russell's abuse and lunatic behavior are extreme even by Hollywood standards, before claiming that he abused Amy Adams and that even her co-star Christian Bale had to get in his face and yell at him to stop acting like an a-hole. Amy would then confirm in an interview with GQ in 2016 that David did mistreat her on set when she said, "He did make me cry. He was hard on me, that's for sure. It was a lot. I was really just devastated on set." Number 5. Hannah Waddingham. Battles may have been in common in the film on Games of Thrones, but Hannah Waddingham, who played Septa Unella on the popular fantasy drama from 2015 to 2016, never expected to literally be waterboarded during a day's work. In season 6 on the show, Cersei Lannister pays Septa back for torturing her by having Septa captured and tortured too. Hannah then told Collider that Unella was supposed to be taken advantage of, but decision makers made a last-minute change while she was flying to the film, and her wardrobe suddenly required her in a wetsuit instead of using visual effects to simulate the act of torture. Hannah claims that she was literally waterboarded, and she said, "And there I was, strapped to a wooden table with proper big straps for 10 hours. And definitely other than childbirth, it was the worst day of my life." The 10-hour day of traumatic filming was not without actual consequences, as Hannah would then add the situation definitely caused her to have claustrophobia when she's around water. Number 4. Sophia Bush. When Sophia Bush was playing Erin Lindsay on NBC's Chicago PD for 4 seasons before she quit the show in 2017, in the middle of her 7-year contract, she then would later explain to Dax Shepard on the Armchair Expert podcast that her body could not handle the physically demanding conditions she was put in on set. In the interview, she would say, "I quit because I've been so programmed to be a good girl and to be a workhorse and to be a tugboat that I've always prioritized hugging the ship for the crew, for the show, for the group ahead of my own health. The reality was that my body was falling apart because I was really, really unhappy." She then went on to claim that while the show was being filmed in Chicago, creative decision makers made the cast film outside in weather conditions that were 62 degrees below freezing because the snow looked cool on camera. Sophia also then went on to note that she endured being abused at work because she didn't want to jeopardize her job for crew members and that the culture protected what was happening on set. Bush alleged that she gave her bosses a whole season to fix the issues that she knew she had been working in the conditions in Chicago, and when they didn't comply, she decided it would just be best to exit the show altogether. Number 3, Elliot Page. Back in 2017, Elliot Page would take to his Facebook page to say that Brett Ratner outed him as gay during the filming of the X-Men The Last Stand. Page went on to say, "I was a young adult who had not come out yet to myself. I knew I was gay, but did not know, so to speak. I felt violated when this happened. He outed me with no regard for my well-being, in an act we all recognize as homophobic." In addition, Ratner also told a woman on set you should F her to make her realize she's gay. Page then went on to say Ratner's comments replayed in his mind many times over the years as he's encountered homophobia and coped with feeling of reluctance and uncertainty about the industry and his future in it. Just a short time before Elliot went public with his story, 6 women accused Ratner of a range of unwanted advances in misconduct. Number 2, 2. Shelley Duvall. Director Stanley Kubrick is notorious for running a demanding set. However, did you know that The Shining broke the Guinness World Record for most retakes for one scene with dialogue after it took them 148 takes to finish it? In 2021, The Hollywood Reporter would then ask former Hollywood star Shelley Duvall if Stanley treated her viciously on set, and she would tell the outlet, "He's got that streak in him. He definitely has that, but I think mostly because people have been that way to him at some point in the past." While Shelley did tell the Rolling Stone Stanley was warm and friendly towards her, Shelley's own daughter, Vivian, captured Shelley's physical and emotional exhaustion while filming The Shining in a behind-scenes documentary which featured the actor lying down on the floor in a complete state of exhaustion. Shelley once also told Roger Ebert that going through the day after day of excruciating work was almost unbearable. Angelica Houston, who lived with the film's star Jack Nicholson, would also go on to note that Shelley was having a difficult time with the film's emotional content before saying, "When I saw her during those days, she seemed generally a bit tortured, shook up. I don't think anyone was particularly careful of her." And coming in at number 1, we have Debbie Reynolds. Debbie Reynolds got her star-making role playing Kathy in 1952's Singing in the Rain. Debbie was much like her character who was trying to break out into the movie business, as she was not as experienced as her co-stars Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. In fact, Debbie had no prior dance training before the production began, but Kelly, who co-directed the film, was apparently not a patient teacher, and he mistreated Debbie on set. Debbie would open up about her mistreatment in her unsinkable memoir in 2013, where she would say, "My feet were bleeding from all that dancing, and when I pointed out, Gene says, 'Clean it up.' He was very sentimental like that." Debbie would also claim that Gene was a cruel taskmaker when she noted that he came to rehearsals and criticized everything she did and never gave her a single word of encouragement. Later, for his part, Kelly did eventually admit that he did mistreat his young co-star badly, and he said, "I wasn't really nice to Debbie. I'm surprised she still speaks to me." But Gene's on-set behavior went beyond meanness, as he also shoved his tongue down her throat in a particular scene.